was a woman. She happened to be at a well at noon. And I'm thinking to myself, who goes to the well at noon? Because back in times of days bygone, you go to the well in the morning when it is cool, or you go to the well in the evening when the sun has gone down. But this woman, you see, she's at the well at high noon. I'm thinking to myself, asking the question, why is she there at noon? Find out she's a woman. She's been through so many relationships that she no longer knows who she is. So many struggles and challenges. She doesn't feel comfortable in her own skin. She doesn't know who her people are. She doesn't know what to believe in anymore. This woman has lost hope. Perhaps there's another woman, and this woman is saying, I'm taking care of everyone. I'm caring for everybody else. I'm mama. I'm taking care of my spouse, my loved ones, my parents sometimes, and I'm lost in a mix. I want something different. These women come to us, actually, they come to us in the Bible, but they come to us because they are our mothers, they are our sisters, they are our friends, our best friends sometimes. They are the women without hope, or if they're without hope, they're struggling to hold on to the little bit that they have. Listen, this is About This Life with your host, Anne Marie. On About This Life, our show is really to take the opportunity. How can we shift our mindset? How can we shift the way that we perceive something in order to come to a place where we can make some decisions, different decisions for our lives? I am so pleased today to host Tondalia Shaw. Thank you. She gave me grace and said I can call her T.
Yeah,
T, how are you?
I am wonderful, Anne Marie. Thank you so much for having me today. I'm excited to be here on About This Life.
I am excited to have you. And you look like you are prepared for my favorite season of the year. So
Yes,
we are, after all, in Advent and waiting for the coming of Christ, as a believer. We
yeah,
proclaim him and say all honor and praise to God. I love, I love that you are here because right before we came on, I said, you talking to this woman. It's like, I might need you.
Oh,
I might
wow.
need you because what we want to do in our conversation is talk about giving hope, giving
Yeah,
hope to women
yeah,
and helping women. John 4 is one of my favorite scriptures. What do you remember about John 4, the woman at the well?
Oh, wow. I love how, oh, yes, I love how Christ was able to see the depth of who she was. When she had conversation with him, she was very surface. But I love, and this is so much how I am, I always go to the depth of a person. I don't want to just know that you're good and you're great and you have this smile. But sometimes our smiles, they sometimes will tell stories because there's something behind there. So I, much like him, God, this is just my makeup. I go to the heart of a person, and I love how he did that. But that was where her freedom came, or that was where her breakthrough came, and it sent her running to say, "Oh my gosh, I just met a man who told me about the real issue that was at hand."
About the real issues. And we're talking about a woman who, again, she's at the well at noon. So she's trying to avoid somebody.
Oh, yeah,
And she's trying to avoid somebody. And she's out running in town saying, hey, stop. I have something to tell you. That was a transformation for her.
mm,
What type of
yeah.
transformation would she have to have gone through?
Oh my gosh. Uh, really that being real with herself. Being real with herself and really coming face to face again with the real issue, and then not caring, taking the cloak off, not caring who knew or this or that.
Okay, so T, and thank you for letting me call you T. I appreciate
Absolutely.
it. Okay, so T, you are in the business of helping people to take that cloak off because
Yes.
you are in the business of doing so many fantastic things. You, yes, you have the Women's Collective, you have
Yes.
Voices Unleashed conference coming up.
Yes.
What do you do? How do you take off the cloak so that a woman can understand and see inside of her who she
Mhm.
really is?
We have to, what I do, and I absolutely love it. I'm so glad that I get the opportunity to do that. I sit in the shoes of every woman that I meet because we've been there. As women, we share so many of the same threads, and we have always been taught to continue to go on. You know, you'll take care of that later, or let's sweep it under the rug. And that is where I found myself for so long. And it wasn't until an opportunity came, and I was actually in a photo shoot, doing some photos with a woman that had nothing to do with my issue. But because she took the chance, I believe, hearing from the Lord, and she said, I can't pick you up. I can't get your personality. You have these bold colors on. She said, but it's not coming through your pictures. And she said, tell me how you grew up. What's going on? Like, how did you get there? I want to know. And from
Oh,
then on, I burst out crying. And it caused me to reflect and go back in my mind because for so many years, and I had lost my voice, but I didn't know. I took on the identity of, oh, I'm an introvert, I'm quiet, I'm
mm,
shy. But
mm.
that's not really what it was. What it was is I had nearly escaped a sexual assault by a family member. And when I went to tell my parents what happened, they shut me down. They said, we're not talking about that. I had already told a counselor. They instructed me to go back and tell the counselor that I made the story up. So from
Wow.
then on, I was able to pinpoint, and that was the cloak, that was the jacket I wore all throughout my life. Your voice doesn't matter. Don't you say nothing. You be quiet. So I was I was very mute. So when I can see that in other women, and I think about all the opportunities that are missed, I think about them feeling that they are not valid, that their voice doesn't matter. And it's just something that stirs up in me. I believe it's the gift of God that says, no, I'm going to take your hand and we're going to walk through this. And whether it is because my breakthrough came not only by prayer and my relationship with the Lord, but it was also therapy too. So I will share my therapist, hey, this is who I went to. Or if you can't, hey, and it's okay. And then to bust down that stigma, it means you're crazy. No, it does not. This
Mm,
is
mm, mm.
really how you can live your best life. But go ahead.
So you have said so much. I heard words like stigma. I heard words about losing your voice. So I'm
Oh,
excited
yeah.
over here because so
Hmm.
many of us as women, we live through trauma and we
Hmm.
carry it and we bury it because that's what we're taught.
Yep.
Press it down. And, love our families. And they taught us what they were taught. And that's
Correct.
don't air your dirty laundry in public. Okay.
Correct.
Nobody's going to talk about that. What's it like not to be believed?
Oh my gosh. That was how I made every decision in my life. So I was living less than. I felt I can't say anything because I'm going to sound stupid. They're not going to believe me. They're not going to hear me. But so it affected every choice and every decision. So it's like you feel less than, and then you're living beneath, like you should be here. You should be achieving that, but it's something that's waiting and oppressing you and holding you down
And you
because
implode from the inside out, inside out.
yes, yes, absolutely, absolutely. And I am just so thankful. I'm telling you, again, I'll say therapy. It was like the top was removed, the lid was removed off of my life because I was able to pinpoint. and actually was able to go and have conversation with my parents. Actually was able and restore that relationship too. Relationships can be restored. But it was that. It's to me, it's pinpointing where it started, closing that door, and that's how you're going to burst and shoot off at the rest of your life.
How do you make that step? Because you're saying therapy, and
Yeah.
I grew up in a day and age where
Hmm.
you don't talk about going to therapy,
Right,
okay?
right,
Because
right,
of there's a stigma around that, okay?
right.
Only crazy
Hmm.
people go to therapy.
Yeah.
In today's, in this year, the year that we live in, my goodness, we talk about mental health and mental health matters, and
Hmm.
society is embracing it more. But yet, in our community, there's still this hesitancy to
Yeah.
cover the person who does things to us. So, how
Hmm.
did you make the breakthrough and make a decision that, okay, I'm going to seek therapy? Did someone invite you in? Did you seek it out yourself? How did you come to making that decision?
One of the things that I've been saying for the last couple of months, and I don't know where I got it from, but it's get the most out of your relationship with God. I've been telling everyone that. And when I say that, prior to me going to therapy, I would ask God the hard questions. Why is this? I'm reading this in your word. I'm putting in my time. I'm going to church on this day. I'm reading my Bible, but
Hmm.
I am not seeing what you're saying in your word. What is it? So just through prayer, and just as the scripture says that he orders your steps. And I just believe that's what led me there to the photo shoot where we had this big old hour-long crying session. And therapy had been on my mind, but not for me. It was for my family because we were divided. And I said, well, maybe we should go to therapy. But of course, they
Hmm.
weren't for it. And sometimes what I'm learning, what God will do is sometimes you got to be the first one. So that's why I ended up going. But it was constantly coming to God with real conversations, asking him hard things, believing that he's going to answer me, and him guiding my footsteps. So it's like my heart was prepped and primed for that. So when that interaction, that divine interaction happened, it was like, boom, that's it. She said, have you considered therapy? And I said, I've been thinking about it. And I went and I searched it out myself. I really did.
Okay. Okay. And so you searched it out yourself, and I'm thinking to
Mhm.
myself, I'm thinking about the person who's listening to this and they going through barriers, and now
Yeah.
this place is warm now, so I got to come
I
out.
know, I knew you were going to come out of it. Yeah.
Or should I say I'm going like this?
I knew
You
you were
reach
going to
a
come
certain
out.
point in your life. You travel with your own weather system, okay?
Yeah. Yeah.
Therapy, working through the issues,
Hmm.
there's sometimes friction because
Hmm.
as you're trying to find your own healing, not
Yeah.
everybody can go along with you.
You're right.
Not everybody can go along with you. How did you find the courage or the bravery? Because you said, okay, let me be first.
Hmm.
How did that impact others around you?
I am. I'll say quote unquote, I'm from the park, I'm from the streets, I'm from the hood, I'm from Washington,
Hmm.
D.C. So I have that toughness and that I don't care. I'm going to do this for me. So I do believe that was one of the things. Now, even going through therapy, I was married. I've been divorced about 2 years. So that was a whole dramatic change to experience, even in marriage, because I was turning into a whole different person than I was when I first got married. I was married for 15 years at 23 years old. Um, but I just,
I beat you by one. I was 22. Go ahead.
but it's like when you want something bad enough, nothing is going to stop you. I can just, and for instance, I remember I was in the credit union arena for about 15 years. I was a manager of a credit union. And again, a believer. I'm reading this. There are certain things I expect from the Lord, and I'm not seeing them. And I got so frustrated because I was living paycheck to paycheck. And again, I'm like, what is going on? I'm doing all these things for you. And just that, and I said, I'm going to start doing something. So I started looking up ways because I'm naturally creative. I started looking up ways to make money. It's when you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, nothing. is going to stop you, especially if you're a believer. I want to see the things that he said that I can have. The abundant life, that's what I want.
Yes, absolutely. Because he made a promise to us, right?
That's
And his
right.
promise to us was that the abundant life will come down here on earth.
Correct.
And I'm just like, God, we live in paycheck to paycheck. It seems that we always there's more months than
Mm-hmm.
money, and it's
Mm-hmm.
just like, how do we make ends meet? How do we
Yeah.
manage all of those and navigate that? Then I thought,
Right.
okay, it didn't slip by me. I was listening.
Uh-huh.
Nearly sexual assault was the
Yeah.
trauma. And
Mm-hmm.
were you a young girl, a
Yes.
teenager?
I was 8. I was 8 years
Yeah,
old. 8, and there
8
was
years
a this
old.
is mm-hmm.
eight
Mm-hmm.
years old and 8 years
Yeah.
old, and it's almost like someone took your voice.
Yes.
Someone took your voice away and took away who you were meant to be
Yes. Yep. Mm-hmm.
in terms of growing up.
Yes.
So somebody took away your voice. You went through therapy
Mm-hmm.
and you came out with a voice. Now
Yes.
bring us back to the story, because I'm looking again. Young Women's Collective and
Mm-hmm.
Voice Unleashed conference you have coming
Yes.
up. How are
Yes.
you taking what you have learned for yourself and helping other women find their voice?
Great question. With Voice Unleashed, I actually had my first conference in August of 2024, and it was beautiful. The thing that
Hmm.
I wanted to do was give a platform to women who oftentimes feel overlooked. There are a million geniuses in this world, but
Hmm.
sometimes because they don't have the big name, they may not have the finances, they may not have the resources, they aren't seen. And from there, will be quieted. So it's things just disturb me sometimes. I'm like, I'm going to do something about it, and I wanted to create an event, and that's strictly what it was. I wanted to forge business women together with believers who feel like they lost their voice, feel like they're less than. And then I had business women who are believers as well, who are making the money, who are encouraged, who are bold, and I wanted to mix them together. Because when you hear the story behind the person, that's almost like the woman at the well. When you go to the core issue of the matter, that's where breakthrough can come. So when the trauma, the low self-esteem, when they can see a visual of what's possible, then that ignites something in them. And that's what that event was. We had about, oh my gosh, we fit so much in so little time, but it was
Right.
5 hours. We had women that there were therapists. There was a speaker who this was her first time speaking. She has published 2 books. And I said, why doesn't anyone know about this woman? And I said, I really created the event around her. I said, she was my
And
first
women like
speaker.
her. Yes, yes.
Yes, yes, yeah. It was just so amazing. And I had a panel, and it was just a chance for women to talk. And one woman came up to me, one audience member, and she said, this is the first time I felt like I belonged somewhere. And that's what I wanted. You belong. You are enough where you are. You don't have to have this accolade and this, and you are enough where you are, and opportunities are available to you.
That is amazing. I want to thank you for
Hmm.
that, because I actually started an online group, and my online group is called Becoming Enough.
Oh,
And
wow.
I played with that word becoming because I want women to realize at some point the breakthrough, you are already enough and it's inside. But you have to
Yes.
find it inside. You have to find your voice. So
Yes.
I love that term. But you handle so much though, T. I mean,
Hmm.
you're an adjunct professor, you an
Hmm.
author yourself, certified life coach,
Hmm.
licensed minister. Are you Superwoman, T? Are you
I wish.
Superwoman?
No, ma'am. I am not. I am not. I like to just help people, wherever your hands find to do. And it really helps me. It helps me stay focused. It helps me stay charged and just helps me stay connected to the Lord and my inherent mission here on the earth. So that's why I'm always here to help. The adjunct professor, that's by year, it's every other year. So I'm good on that.
Okay, okay. I'm
Yeah.
still not letting you off the hook though.
Yes.
And I don't want to let you off the hook because one of the things that as women we go through is this
Hmm.
role of superwoman.
Oh
I
yeah.
keep telling people, okay, I put down the cape. Been there, done
Hmm.
that, got the t-shirt.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm passing the mantle. There's a lot that we do on the exterior and a
Hmm.
lot that we do to pour into others.
Hmm.
And God would have it that way because we're the hands and feet to make things happen.
Right.
How do you get your cup poured into? Who
Mm.
pours into your cup?
Hmm.
And I want real talk because, I'm a believer, I'm a Christian, and I'm thinking to
Yeah.
myself, there are times when I just get tired.
Yeah,
There
absolutely.
are times I get tired, and I'm just like, I don't want to believe this superwoman myth anymore that we can do it all at the same time,
Hmm.
every time. So who pours into your cup?
I'm right there with you. I am very active I'll just go on this side first, in my local ministry. So I will,
Hmm.
no matter how busy I am, on every Sunday, you're going to see me on the second row getting poured into, making sure that I'm encouraged. And after that, I'm going to come home. I'm going to sit on this couch. I'm going to look at me a movie and do nothing. I'm going to have
Yes.
my coffee and do nothing. Even if I have to have a second day of doing nothing, that's what I'm going to do. I'm very, very big on balance. So I'm going to give you 125% while I'm there. And while I'm there, it shuts down. I am off and I'm at home now. Meet me back again when it's time for me to do the job again. But when I shut off, when I'm turn off, I am off. That's it.
So it's very important that we build into our lives this notion called rest.
Yes,
To achieve rest, we're looking into boundaries, right?
correct.
So,
Yep.
how do you go about establishing these boundaries? So, tell us, one of the things that you do is you are a life coach, a
Hmm.
transformational coach. So, how
Hmm.
do you help women to set boundaries so that they give themselves permission? I've done a lot and I'm giving myself permission. I'm going to rest today.
Yeah, that comes with loving you. You have to love you. If you don't love you, you can't fully love and function and give. I always say 125%. You can't give 125 from nothing. So you have to start at base first, learning how to say no and it's okay, and not feeling badly about that, and not worrying about what how this is such a bad habit we have. We're all in someone else's mind, think, oh my God, did they think this? And they're going to think that they're going to be hurt. That doesn't have anything to do with me. Doesn't have anything to do with you. I said no, and that's it. I think that's the biggest thing. A lot of times we can be people pleasers, um, but no one is in your home. No one is paying your bills. No one knows what you have to do but you. So you have to make you of importance. Like we really, really do. And then going back to what we said before, know what triggers you, know what makes you tick, go to the hard issues, not surface anymore. Why does this trigger you? Why are you always saying yes? Is it because you want the pat on the back? Is it because you want the gold star? Is that it? Then we need to handle that, So I dig into areas like that.
Okay, okay, you just went down my street. Because the ministry of no is hard for me.
Oh no. Mm-mm.
You just went down my street. You went down my street. You did that
Yeah.
because you know, I have to tell you because what you just said though was very powerful and it speaks to seeing beyond the surface.
Yes.
Okay. So I want you to go back over it again.
Yeah.
You explained it, but I want you to touch upon it again because a
Okay.
lot of times we don't say no because in our subconscious mind,
Mm-hmm.
we're not saying it out loud, But in our subconscious mind, we're going, okay, maybe somebody will see me.
Mm.
Maybe somebody will
Mm-hmm.
love me. Stay there
Yep.
for a moment. Get to that
Yep.
subconscious mind. Because on the surface, I'll say, oh, I can do that because,
Mm-hmm.
I just want to help. But there's
Yeah.
something going on deeper. Talk to us
Yep.
about that.
Yeah. That's Gosh, I can talk about it from my angle. Like though that parent, those mommy, issues. Someone didn't affirm you. That's what it is. It's you want that affirmation of you did a good job, or I can always depend on her. She's the best at what she does. But on the inside, is your heart really in it? That's the thing for me. I can say yes, and I can, and on the surface, we're good. We get that quick gratification, that quick
Mhm.
gratification. But when you get home, I wish I wouldn't have did that. Or the things that you really want to take care of in your home, they go lacking, but everyone else is good to go. And then on the inside of you, you're experiencing turmoil because you really wanted to say no there, but your stuff is lacking here. So you see, it's like that waging war on the inside. And that's why we have to, and we've been taught, don't be selfish. Don't be selfish. It's not being selfish. It's about being self-aware of who you are, right? And how you can best show up. Oh my gosh, that's how people are going to get the best you, by knowing exactly how you function, knowing that and knowing that it's okay. I really don't have time to do this right now. It's not that I don't care about you. It's not that I don't want to help you. Right now, I'm not even in the right mind space. Right now, I really don't even feel like it. Right now, I have this icky fit. It's stuff like, it's things
Right,
like that. It's
right.
okay to talk to yourself and find, I am very,
Hmm.
very, um, this very big for me, being self-aware. So that way we're not always playing victim. That way we're not always saying it's your fault. They did it. I'm upset with this person when really it starts at core. It starts with you.
Or a big one, self-pity. You feel sorry for
Yeah.
yourself. So
Yep.
it's a way of drawing attention to that. But so if you're going on your healing journey, and I
Mm-hmm.
hear you're giving tools to
Mm-hmm.
people and how to navigate that territory. So you're on your
Yeah.
healing journey. That doesn't mean the people around you, though, are healing.
Correct.
So
That's right.
So, what is it about surrounding yourself with the right people that's important
Oh
on your
wow.
healing journey?
Oh my gosh, because they're going to be able to pour into you and they're going to be on your same wavelength. Sometimes, like you just said, everybody isn't healing the same time. So there'll be some miscommunications of lines. People are, you've changed. Oh, you think you're better
Mhm.
than us. And it's really not that. Your capacity is expanding, and then having to, and I have to tell myself this as well, they're not wrong. There's nothing wrong with them. I'm not better. We're not. We all have our own individual journeys, but it is important to surround yourself with people who understand. Also, journal. That is really, really great. Journal, because when you do that, so much stuff that you don't even know is on the inside of you comes out, and you're able to visually see it. It's always like get what's in here out of there and put it on paper so you can actually physically see it with your eyes.
Mhm.
Um, but it's important. And then don't be discouraged, because what I've learned, and I'm in the middle of this, as we're on our healing journey, as it feels like people are being extracted in your life, if you pay attention, there are people that are coming and being added in, but we have
Yes.
to pay attention. I was like, oh my gosh, it seems like my friends. But when I look, I'm being introduced to other people who have what I need at this time in my life.
At this time, and I want to say something about change that I've learned along
Mhm.
the way is that when people say you have changed, they say it like an insult.
Right. Hmm.
And I think about you, our God, who says, all things work together for good. And I think to myself, well, isn't change good? Because if
Right.
you don't change, that means you staying the same. And it's like,
Correct.
so when somebody tells me that you change, I say, thank you.
Right. I love that. I love it.
I say thank you because I do not want to be the same person I was
Yes.
5 years ago.
Yes.
There's some new awakening, awareness, wisdom that I'm walking into, and
Yes.
that adjusts our perspectives. Like, my
Hmm.
goodness, I don't want to be 21 again.
Okay.
Okay, never.
Right.
It was wonderful when it occurred, but
Okay.
go back
Right.
there because there's beauty in the present, in the moment that we are.
Hmm.
If you would, talk to us a little bit about hope. Now, I know that you're an author. Tell us the name of your book.
The name of the book is The Confident Mindset. And I share my story a little in depth, and it helps people to overcome self doubt and just to live boldly in their God given purpose. And it's little just exercises and resources to help you, again, go to the depths of who you are. And just again, going back to what you said in reference to the hope, I like to let people know it seems like, you know, the term life be lifing. And sometimes we'll just settle for that. And a lot of people will think that this is it. I get up, I go to work, I come home, I cook, I'm a mom, I'm a wife, I pay bills, I do it again, and then I die. And that is not the truth. God has a plan. You were written in there. And
Mm,
I always like for people to go back. When you were younger, you alluded to it earlier. When you were younger, there were things that were in you that you just automatically did. You said, when I grow up, I want to be this. When I grow up, I want to be that. Why can't you be that now? I always
mhm.
ask my clients that. Why can't, well, let's get to that. That was when it was pure. That's when life wasn't so hard, the pressures and the cares. And I like to let them know that's still available to you. You may have to
Yes.
do some work, okay? And that's fine, but that is still available to you.
Absolutely, absolutely. So you can create and to understand that you have a purpose in
Yes,
life and that there's more. There's
yes,
always more.
always.
There is always more, and therein can lie our hope. And our job is to find out, well, how can we do the more? Where can we
Yes,
find the more? And if we
yes.
need help, whether it's therapy and coaching. And I want to
Hmm.
say to our viewers that therapy is much different than coaching. I've had both.
Correct.
I have had both. I've had a traditional psychologist, office hours, and so forth, and I've
Hmm.
had coaching, and
Hmm.
that's another story in terms of when you go back and you find that that little girl, and
Yep.
or if, for our gentlemen who are listening, and you find that little boy, when you go back and you find your younger self.
Hmm.
It can be the experience
Hmm.
can catch you off guard.
Hmm.
The experience will open up so much and
Yeah.
emotions pour out of you.
Yes.
So it's not something that you want to do by yourself.
Correct.
It is always something you want to do with someone who can be like a guide, who can help you
Yes.
and be there alongside you, because when you go back, especially when you've experienced trauma, like when you're 8 years old, uh you need someone there for you in the moment. And I'm sure you found
Absolutely.
that in your coaching experience in terms of the people that you work with.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I always, like you said, I'm glad that you pointed that out, that coaching is much different than therapy. So if it's an issue and we're hitting a bump in the road with my clients, I'm always going to refer them out to a therapist. And when I was on the journey with my therapist, and one of the exercises I had to do was write out a letter to my mother, who was the
Yes.
one who said to not tell. And like you said, so much emotion poured out that I didn't even know things that I didn't know I was holding against her. I felt like she didn't protect me as a mother, and I had never shared these things. And as I was sharing it with my therapist, we both were crying. She said, I can feel since I can feel the emotion as you read it. And I actually had to share that letter with my mother, and it was a freeing experience for me. I wasn't so much looking for the response from her, but it was because I could find the words. I found the words to say how I felt, and it was freeing. It was a burden that was lifted for me.
And therein lies the power because someone
Hmm.
like you can help women find the words
Yes.
because the language might not be available to us. And I
Hmm.
think you spoke about restoration. I think
Yes.
that is so important
Yes.
in terms of coming to yourself and healing. Talk to us, as we close out a little bit.
Hmm.
You went to get the pictures taken, you had a cry. How did the
Hmm.
pictures come out?
That's one of the let me see, was it that day? That's one of the pictures on my profile. Um, they came out really, really good. And that photographer and I, we're close just like this. I'm the type of person I always come back, and I'm sure you know the lepers that come back and say thank you. Anyone who is, because people don't have to help you, anyone who has been instrumental and has had an impact on my life, I never forget them. I actually just did an event with her and I got to share publicly. I said I will always support her just because she asked me a question.
You can say her
Just
name.
because she asked me a question. Her name is Janita Castile. She is the owner of Power 100 magazine. She's based in Hampton Roads, Virginia. And she does almost the same thing that I do. She brings together women and she presents them with the award for power for their resilience. Excuse me. And she photographs them. Excuse me, water.
That's okay because I got my water. And it's
Excuse me.
wonderful because in your description, we're speaking about collaborating. And that
Yes.
also takes away this myth that we always have to compete and that there's not enough for us because we can actually collaborate because there's so many people who are standing in need. There are so
Hmm.
many people who need that type of assistance. And so
Yes.
she's able to find that through her photography.
Yes. Yes. She has brought together, oh my gosh. We just worked on a project this summer. It was about 160 women. She got
Mm,
into their inbox on Facebook and she said, "You've been nominated for an award, and it includes a photograph session." And some of the women, they were like, "Well, who is this?" Because she didn't know them. They were like, "Well, who is this? And why are you emailing me?" And when they came there, and I was just there to assist her because she was a blessing in my life. I was just there to put up the props and the backdrop. We were able to pray for them. We were able just to talk with them. And some of those women sat in those chairs crying, saying, "Oh my God, I needed this because I give so much out to everyone else and I needed to do this for myself." And then she turned that into an award ceremony. It was amazing.
that is a beautiful story. And I would say kudos to her because she saw something in you
Mm,
that led to your transformation.
hmm.
And the photographers, it's one thing, we all have to make a living. Okay.
Yeah.
We all have to um push forth and we're in the marketplace and we're doing business. But there's something about a photographer and I had a conversation with another photographer, Stacy, and she will be part of one of my episodes on About This Life. And it amazes me at
Yeah.
um, what they see, and they actually see the essence of a person. So I
Yeah.
want to encourage our viewers, like for your next birthday, get yourself a photographer.
Yeah. Yep. Yes.
Treat yourself to a session. Okay, so with that being said, we talked about your coaching, we talked about the collective. Are you going to have this conference again in 2025?
I sure am, and I'm looking to take it on the road. One of my guests that was there, she is a classmate from high school, and she said, Tondalia, I need this in DC. So hopefully we're looking to have that in January or February in Washington, DC. And also I connected with another young woman in Jamaica. I just came from Jamaica. She's based out of Atlanta. And she said, I would love to have it there. So I'm going to, instead of waiting for someone to invite you or bring you to the stage, create your own stage. So I'm going to be taking it on the road.
Absolutely. And I might come join you because that's the
Yes, I
area I
would
live
love
in.
it.
I live in the DMV.
Nice.
So
So
that sounds
excited.
phenomenal. How do people get in touch with you?
Oh man, let's see, multiple ways. You can, my email address first is hello at
Mm-hmm.
tondaliadenise.com. Again, that's hello at tondaliadenise.com. And then you can visit my website. It's www.abundantlifecoaching.community. And that's one word, www.abundantlifecoaching.community. You can follow me on all social media platforms. I'm on Facebook at Tondalia Shaw. I am on Instagram at lifecoach_Tondalia. If you want to just sit and have some devotional time and some inspirational short videos, I love TikTok for that. And I am at she_prospers.
Okay. So that's a lot of places where someone can find you. That's
Yes.
amazing. I want to thank you, Tondalia, for being my guest today. What I would say in closing is this: where there's help, there's hope. I had the opportunity to work on a campaign many, many years ago at the start of my career, and I've switched careers since then. And it was a rape crisis center. And we did pro bono work. One of the slogans that the marketing team and I came up with is where there's help, there's hope.
Mhm.
It is the idea that we don't have to live in misery. We don't have to settle on a life that is mediocre. We have the power to change our lives. As the new year is upon us, and we only have about a month to go for that, the message and the lesson is as this new year begins, let your life be new again. Let your life be new again. Let your life be new again. So, this is Ia Marie, host of About This Life, where we are changing our lives one day at a time. I would love for you to like, to share, and to subscribe. You can reach me, get in touch with me on aboutthislife.podbean.com. I would love for you to share this experience with others. I would love for you to subscribe so we can continue to bring you more stories of hope, more stories of renewal. So take care. Bye bye.